Welcome to the Grow Your Business for Good show. This is a place where coaches and consultants gather so you can learn how to lead a world-class business that does not tax your time, your energy, or your financial resources. We are your hosts, M. Shannon Hernandez
and Amy Hager of the Joyful Business Revolution. And our number one goal is to bring you clarity and insight on how to grow your business for good. Hello, wherever you are in the world today. Thank you for joining me. I'm Amy Hager, co-founder of the Content Personality Club and community curator here at the Joyful Business Revolution and the Grow Your Business for Good podcast. And wow, season 3 has been so much fun. Don't worry, Shannon is coming back for season 4, but we are going to wrap up our series of expert interviews today with Christine. And I think this is a beautiful way to wrap up this series. We've heard a lot of great stories from individuals of how their businesses have shifted and changed. And I think today's story is just going to be as amazing as we really dive into what is your business calling you to do? And so before we go down this journey, Christine, would you please introduce yourself? Who are you? Where are you? And what do you do in this world?
Oh, thanks, Amy. So good to be with you and everybody tuning in. My name is Christine Laria, and I live on the big island of Hawaii. We are, yes, the active volcano land right now. Always, really. And what I do is I guide people to connect them with knowing who they are to actually living it. So knowing the love and the joy and the freedom that they are to actually experiencing it in their lives. And I also work with sound. So I'm a sound healer and I sell these beautiful alchemy singing bowls, which are these fantastic tools for allowing your mind to be quiet so the brilliance of you can really guide you and shine through. That's really one of their great superpowers. So I coach people individually and through group coaching settings and teach, and it's a wonderful life. Yeah, thank you.
I love it. And I think you had led us through a sound healing or a sound bowl session at our Inspired Beyond Belief event this year. And it was just amazing because I wanted to ask you, did you pre-plan like how the bowls were going to sing and how you were going to sing, or that was just all inspiration from that moment?
Really, that's an awesome question. It's how I work. It's at the core of all the work that I do, which is that I tune into the wisdom of the people I'm working with and see what they're asking to bring through that's most beneficial for them. So in guiding people, I work that way. In working with the bowls, I work that way. And I never have any idea. They'll just start like, oh, this one. And then when the theme of what we shared, which was really about letting our business and our planning and our inspiration be easy, that came through because of that very reason. Shannon shared that she had just written that down at the top of her page. I wonder how easy this can be. And that's the amazing thing about how connected we are. Information is there. And when we really tune in and listen, we can be guided in that way that does make our lives easier. Honestly, for me, it's really easy to be what we are and really hard to be anything else. So just from personal experience, when we're really centered in with what we truly are, it's actually easy. Yeah.
I love that. Well, so then for today, and again, tying back to this being who we are because it's really easy.
Yeah.
One thing that you've really tackled, I would say, in the last 6 months or so is embracing what is yours as a CEO and what is not. So what does that exactly mean? Embracing what is yours as a CEO and what is not?
Yeah, that's been a great learning curve. And it's been really core to everything that I'm doing in my business right now, because it truly is the foundation for where I'm going to put my energy and what's going to come through and come forth. So what I learned was, because I'm a really competent person, because I'm intelligent, because I can do many things, like everybody listening to this podcast, honestly, we're all in this group together. I would do things because I could. And also, I always find learning interesting. I mean, I used to design all my own web pages and do all my own graphics. And I would, I did everything, all the back end stuff, the customer service. And there was this kind of key moment in my work with Shannon where I was puzzling in the way that I do. I was like, well, I wonder how I should do this and what, blah, blah, blah. And she just very quickly cut right to the chase and said, all I can tell you is this is not a CEO task. There are people who make their living doing exactly what you're asking about. So you need to find one of them. And I just went, oh, we'd been having this conversation about staying in our zone of genius and making sure we're spending our time doing what we're meant to do and what we're not. And that has been my learning curve. And that's actually, for me right now, I feel like is at the core and the foundation of my business growth, of the changes I'm making for scalability, for which are all totally rooted in deeper service to what that calling of my business is. So it's actually that piece, what's mine as a CEO and what's not, is totally serving the mission of my business. And that's just really beautiful. Yeah.
Well, and again, I think it actually frees you up to be a more available for that calling of your business, like you said. And I think the other thing too that we get so wrapped up into is when we are extremely competent and we're tech savvy and we have a graphic or visual design, aspect of what we can do. Sometimes we also come up with it's just easier for me to just knock this out instead of teaching someone else. And I remember the first time I had a CEO tell me this, and I was just like, yeah, in this moment, in this instance, it's going to be maybe quicker and easier. But what about next month when you have to do it again? And then the month after that, when you have to do it again, and then after that, when you have to do it again. And, I've built my own personal virtual assistant based off if I spend the time with them now to teach them really what the meaning is behind this task, the meaning to the messaging behind this marketing piece or this website change or whatever, that's going to make them such a stronger virtual assistant, not only for me, but for someone else.
Yeah, and it's like that thing you're talking about. It serves all around. I just recently, on a social media post where I'm promoting a free offering I have coming up that sure enough is an opt-in for something else. A friend of mine said, "Wow, I just love this image. It feels so good." And I was able to give the shout out to my designer, Allegra, and say, "Yeah, she really captures the energy of what we're doing." And to have that in my wheelhouse, which is I can say, okay, I want it to feel like this and have this. It's about joy and play and love and beauty, and it just sparkles on the page. And so when you find somebody and you find that great fit and they can work with you, that makes everything more streamlined. Yes, I enjoy doing graphics. It's fun for me,
Yeah.
but it does not serve the mission of my business. I can do it and it's fun, but really there are things that I need to do as the CEO that nobody else can do, and also that are going to bring forward truly the like just really the core beauty and gift of what my business is for others. I need to stay with those things. Yeah, it's been a great learning curve. Yeah.
And so then it's a dance though, right? A dance of one, trusting yourself and trusting this person in the relationship that you're building. So like, for the example, let's just make a quick basic example. You're going to decide what's being said, the dates an email campaign is going to be sent, and how that flow is going to be. But then someone's going to actually execute that technology and put it in your email system for you. And so when we talk about that dance of not only trusting the person that you're choosing to help you, but it's also then trusting the scalable growth that's going to happen from this.
Yeah, that's really, really beautiful. This fun visual that I use a lot with my clients, because I think my analogy in my work is your mind and your presence, like your mind and your wisdom. And everybody goes to their mind because they're like, well, my mind's really good and it's really capable. And what we're really talking about in that sense is like the knowing of this wisdom that you are, which is way more competent than your mind. And for me, that's like the captain of your boat, and she knows everything about the boat. She knows the water, she knows where the boat's been, she knows where the boat's going, she's aware of everybody on the boat. And then you've got your second or third mate who's really good at doing their part, and maybe that's cooking, or maybe that's being the concierge for your passengers or whatever. But if you say, hey, second mate, why don't you come captain the boat, they're like, oh my god, they're not supposed to captain the boat. They don't have that skill. So for me, this is where this dance of trust comes in, because as I say, I'm going to stay with this overall vision. And the big piece is like, okay, here's what I want this messaging to be. Here's what I want this offering to be. And I'm going to give to the people who execute it where that's where their skill set is, and it's beautiful, the responsibility and the trust to do that. For so many of us, when we begin growing our business, there is that trust element. We're like, but I have to pay somebody to do that, and I could just do it myself, and then it wouldn't cost me. And that's this thing. So you've been doing it all, and your business is sort of stuck down here because you can't actually do any more to help your business come up. So as you toss some things over to other people, this starts to relax and your business starts to grow. And it's the same thing with our mind and our wisdom. Our mind's like doing everything. And then we're like, okay, why don't I let my knowing carry it? And eventually, as we have to take a leap of trust, and eventually that shifts. So maybe initially there's a lot more investment financially, but if it's aligned with the business mission, and if it's really true to what I'm supposed to be doing and what they're supposed to be doing, and you have the right people, it works out. And so this balance, then you come to where you can relax and you go, okay, this actually is working. I can see that this is sustainable, that this does help me, that I'm loving what I'm doing. My mind's relaxing even more. The wisdom of me is carrying the business. The growth is happening. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's a beautiful parallel to how we can work inside of our own lives as we trust something bigger. And in this case, what we're really, in my case, as I'm talking with you about this, I'm trusting the mission of the business rather than my own individual capacity to get something done. The business is bigger than me. So that's where I'm going to let that balance shift. Yeah. And at first it's like, and so go ahead, take the leap. You know what? As a friend of mine would say, if I'm going to fall, I'd rather fall soon and hard and get it over with and go in another direction rather than like, oh, I stubbed my toe again. I stubbed my toe again. Oh, now I hit my knee. Now I hit my shin. It's sort of like, if it's your direction, just go and you'll find out, you'll find out if it's going to work for you. So, yeah.
Let's take a quick break and pause.
Join the Joyful Business Revolution community this February for a public service project for coaches and consultants called Fall Deeper in Love with Your Business. This project was designed for those of us who are moving away from draining business growth practices. And instead, we are choosing to fully embrace business growth in a way that is more joyful and more sustainable.
23 impactful coaches and consultants have come together to answer one question. How has staying true to you helped you fall deeper in love with your life and business?
We invite you to join us for this important community conversation. You can join us at www.joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/deeper.
Now back to the show. And so then when you're really shifting that foundation, I think the other thing that happens, especially when you're, gosh, that's a great visual, tossing things from over here to get the shift to be more relaxed and more even, is you gain a lot of clarity through that process. And it's clarity for you, it's clarity for your teammates. And I think the other piece that I've really watched happen with you is then there is that energy to grow. It's no longer that I'm spent, I'm burned out, I'm showing up everywhere in every way in my business. It really clears out that energetic pathway for you and your business to grow. Yeah,
it does. I think so much when we are when we are the business, when it's a service-based thing, and in this case, it's my coaching and my guidance and my teaching that really is mine to do.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of invisible draws on our energy that aren't even the hours we spend in the day doing the thing. And so that's another thing I've really come to honor, because that's actually how I show up for people. I show up for them with a lot of energy support and ongoing guidance. And that is like very difficult to quantify. It's very difficult to say, well, I only spent this many hours with people this week, but wow, I'm really tired. So what I've come to do is honor the value of that and to realize that it's important that I tend that really devotedly, that in myself, because that is what allows the business to grow. And it's whatever that looks like on paper, if I can just honor, okay, this is what this feels like for me to be doing my business as I do it. Where's
Right.
the balance with that, with handing these tasks off? All I can say is it goes more and more in the direction of handing the tasks
That's
off,
awesome.
which is
Once you
great.
start taking a bite of that pie, it gets more and more delicious.
It's like a really good pie. Like, oh, I'll eat the pie that it comes when you do this task.
Right. And so then talk to me, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about, we're talking about the shifts in energy, the shifts in the foundation in your business, the shift in the work that you're doing in your business. Can we talk a little bit about the shift in the revenue? Like we've talked about, yeah, you might have to spend money to pay these people to do the things, but when your energy is showing up more in the mission of your business,
Mhm.
how has that impacted your revenue? Has it really shifted in the last 6
Yeah. So, well, there's a couple things about that because as we're talking right now, I'm getting ready within the next, really just the next couple of weeks, starting tomorrow with a private launch, and then in a couple of weeks for everyone, for the program that is basically the birthing of this new structure. So that's yet to be revealed in terms of the revenue, but it feels really, really good. And I got this beautiful confirmation of that because it's a new iteration of a membership. And so the old one has gone off the website, but the members area is still there for people who are like members, but nobody can
Yeah.
buy a membership because that's changing. And
Yeah.
somebody actually private messaged me and he said, I'm ready to really up level my life and how do I become a member? And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like the momentum that's building for this thing that's in this choice, which is that somebody's asking me about it before he even knows it exists,
Right.
which was really, really awesome. So I feel great about that. What's in there is a potential to be completely aligned with what I'm here for, and also to have that support me more financially and time-wise. So I feel really great about that. The other piece about the revenue was in terms of working with Shannon and the Joyful CEO, and I said, I've been really focused on launching this group program. I need to fill my individual coaching spots, and I love that work.
Yeah.
Can you give me some ideas about how we might do that? And she said, let's do these 2 email campaigns. How about if you say this like as a theme or whatever? And I took that and really personalized it very authentically. And I
Right.
only had to do the 1 email. So that got filled. So in terms of that revenue went from like basically what would be approximately 25% of that potential up to 100 with 1 email. So
Yeah.
that was
Cool.
really good.
Yeah.
And those are the two, with the bowls, those are the two main aspects, are the individual coaching work, but then these group offerings. And that's the one that's just about to birth. So we'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then I think the really great thing about the work that you've done with Shannon around messaging is, through connecting the two of you, through having conversations and really having collaboration, I think there's a new light to the already amazing things you were saying before. And so when you
Mhm.
can put out an email campaign and you plan for a second, but really only need the one, you're saying the right thing to the right people.
Thank you. Because actually, that's something that's really been in my awareness, is something that I would say, been encouraged in just by the nature of the work I'm doing with you
Yeah.
all in Joyful Business Revolution, is to really speak. Like,
Mhm.
how many products have I actually found because there was something that came into my awareness that I knew it existed? And if it hadn't come into my awareness, I wouldn't have known it existed.
No.
So really, like even that last campaign that she helped me with, I would have never thought of the subject line because to me it's obvious. What is deluxe coaching? I'm like, well, that seems kind of utilitarian, but it's because I know what that is. But
Right.
my people, I thought they
Yep.
knew, but they didn't all know. And the ones that
Mhm.
were really interested in that found out what it was and were like, that's what I need. So
And
I'm
yeah.
finding a key piece is that it's not just speaking clearly what is, for because I'm the one who said what that is. I'm the one who got to write up what that email was, right? That was all just me in my heart, but she guided me in that direction. And then there's that willingness of, I'll just tell you about this, and I'll tell you about it because it's important to me. And I won't worry that maybe I'm bothering you by putting this in your inbox, or that maybe you're going to unsubscribe, or that maybe you're not interested. I can trust my clients enough to let them self-select. If they don't want to hear from me, they don't need to hear from me. And that's good for
They
both
can
of us.
delete the email.
Yeah. And if they do, I've actually been willing to just say even what may feel like the obvious, but also to remember not everybody knows what's in your head. Not everybody knows what's in your business. Not everybody knows what's possible, what you can help them with. We're actually the ones that have to explain that. It seems so basic as I say it, but really that's been part of the guidance. So that is probably that light that you're talking about, is like, you maybe know me from the back end and you're like, oh, that's all in there. But what's happening is I'm actually sending that out in a more direct way. And that
Mm,
feels like really beneficial both for me and the people that I'm meant to work with. Yeah.
right. And I love that, like, even when you decide to write this beautiful campaign, allow your person to get it laid out, designed, and implement it. And you had said something to the fact that you've been working with this designer. So when things do go out, it just sparkles. It sparkles you. It has the energy, right? And so you put the energy into not only the relationship of the team that you've been building, but you're also putting the energy into the relationships that you're building with your email list. And knowing that when an email lands in someone's inbox, they get to make a decision to read it or delete it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And so for those who are ready to read, if you're not sending something to them so that you're staying top of mind, or so when they're ready to say yes, you're the only yes that they're going to say to, we're really not showing up in the full potential service that we should be showing up to our future clients. And so not letting fear hold you back. And I do think we think people hear and see everything and read everything we do, and they
That's
don't,
funny.
right?
Yeah.
So it's okay to sometimes repeat ourselves. And if someone ever comes to you, I always use this theory. If someone ever came to me and said, Amy, you've said the same thing 27 times between your email, your newsletter, your podcast, and social media. Stop telling me the exact same thing. Tell me something new. You need to, like, give that person the biggest hug, because they are a bigger fan than your mother ever has been of you. And they follow you stronger than anybody in this world.
Yeah. They're like your total buddy.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
Oh
that's
my gosh,
really
that's
never
great.
going to happen. And if it does,
No,
then love on that person. Now,
exactly.
I do think we get up in our own head about, showing up too often or showing up too strong, but really people are smart. They can delete. They don't have to read what you're putting out there, but if you're not putting it to them, then when they're actually ready and they actually need it, you're not there in front of them to serve.
Yeah. And we are not, we know this, but we are not in charge of anybody else's journey, even as a coach, as a guide, as a, anything. We are really only in charge of our choices for ourselves and how we show up. And so that's that great distinction, is I'm not here to manage your response to what I show you, but I
Yeah.
am here to actually offer to you what's possible, through this work. Yeah.
Right. So then I think my last question for you today is, what is really your definition of growth? Because I know it's so different for everyone, and it's also very different for the different stages that we are in our business. So now, knowing that you don't have to do all the things, and really embracing what is yours as a CEO and what is not, and
Mhm.
having this new offering that you're really birthing, what is growth to you?
I love that. It has, I would say that answer has changed for me even in the 6 months that I've been working with you all.
Mhm.
And it continues to change. Right now, the answer to what is growth is me being ever more of what I am and true to that. And that it's sort of like this in one of the coaching sessions with Shannon, and I was starting to look at numbers, and which we do, numbers are important, and plans and all of that stuff. And she understands, of course, how I am, which is if I just stay true to living love and being aligned with that, that is growth. That is like the core of any fractal and exponential growth in my life. And that is true for my business. And so a couple ways that that's out picturing right now is that love the ones you're with thing, rather than, oh, I gotta get more people on my list and reach more people. Being relational with who's here, and I value them so much already, but it's reoriented me to that. And it is also the willingness to focus on reaching more people in that organic, very aligned way. And that's always just, for me, gosh, I'm always listening. Does this feel authentic? Does this feel true? Does this feel equally in service to me and to them? And and then being willing to go outside of my comfort zone in that aspect of growth, in terms of reaching people, to whatever it might be, invite people to invite their friends, or to launch a new thing, however that looks. It's really, growth is this incredible blossoming within of being what we are. It's where all growth comes from.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of an esoteric answer to your question, but as I focus into this launch that's literally, like I said, starting tomorrow, oh, well, all I'm interested in is you being exactly who you are, in the most fulfilling, free, joy-filled, loving, happy way. And I'm interested in the same for me. And it feels like if we play in that field together, it'll be great.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love that. And the way I specifically framed the question and how you very specifically answered it is exactly how I knew you were going to answer it. Some people, when I ask them that question, they give me numbers, they give me revenue, they give me people, they give me all of these head-centric things.
mm-hmm.
But you really gave me the answer that's on your heart. And that's what I love about you.
Well, you knew the question to ask me.
You work in that beautiful space. Well, thank you so much for really diving in and sharing your story about how embracing what is yours as CEO and what is not, and how that has felt for you. Because I do know, someone else is sitting on the fence thinking that they're ready to hire someone, or thinking that they're ready to get help, but they just haven't made that step yet. So I think hearing your story might just be the little nudge that they need.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be with everybody.
Awesome. And thank you all for listening. That wraps up season 3 of the Grow Your Business for Good podcast. And don't worry, Shannon and I will be back for season 4. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Grow Your Business for Good podcast with your hosts, M. Shannon Hernandez and Amy Hager.
Head over to www.joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/quiz to take the content personality quiz and join our community. And remember our mantra, if it ain't joyful, we ain't doing that shit.
If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the show, leave a review, and spread the good news with other coaches and consultants.